When we are able to delegate and we're able to do jobs that are within the realms of the resources that we have, again, we see a reduction in burnouts. Okay, so I feel that my experience in corporate settings, now that's both as a therapist working with professionals, but also in delivering workshops, has actually given me a really deep understanding of workplace stresses. So I've seen how pressure, how high expectations, and how a lack of psychological safety can impact mental well-being. Now, this really shapes my approach. So I focus on practical psychology-backed strategies that are actually really realistic for very busy people, whilst also addressing that really important kind of cultural shift that is able to, when in place, foster that longer term resilience that we're all looking for. Okay, so some of the simple yet effective strategies that business owners and leaders can implement to create that healthier work culture is first and foremost modeling those healthy behaviors. So the leaders that prioritize rest and boundaries, these are the leaders that are actually giving their teams permission to do the same, kind of leading by example. So secondly, we've got that encouragement of psychological safety. So make it safe for any employee to ask for help, and even more so just to admit at that point of struggling. So that means removing any sense of fear or judgment to encourage those conversations. The third one is to normalize breaks. This is really important. They can be short, frequent breaks. Actually, these boost productivity. So I think sometimes we can fear that taking breaks finds people stepping away from that productivity, but actually science shows that breaks boost productivity and also mental clarity. And it encourages a culture where stepping away from the desk is not seen as slacking. So again, leading by example. Number 4 is to reassess workload expectations. High performing teams actually really thrive when quality is prioritized over that kind of presenteeism, that the excessive hours that can lead to burnout. The 5th thing that I have here is investing in mental health resources. Now, this might be coaching, it might be EAPs, it might be flexible working policies. Supporting mental health and well-being isn't just compassionate. It's about the strategy that you have embedded in your working culture. So the first steps that business leaders can take to combat imposter syndrome within themselves and also their teams when they acknowledge it is, to acknowledge it openly, because talking about imposter syndrome actually reduces its power. It's in the internalizing it and just feeling it and worrying about it and acting off the back of it that it has its power. So actually leaders who share their experiences around imposter syndrome actually start breaking down some of those internal conversations, bringing it into the external and normalizing it for other people. Secondly, reframing self-doubt. Actually feeling like a fraud often signals growth, not failure. Encourage the people around you to see discomfort as actually a sign that they are stretching their comfort zone and their abilities. And that's reframing it to say that actually this self-doubt is showing growth in action. Another tip is to celebrate progress, not just the results at the end of it, not just those tangible outcomes, because when praise is only given for outcomes, people tend to downplay their efforts, whereas actually recognizing those small wins helps kind of foster and build and nurture confidence. And fourth and finally, encouraging mentorship, because actually imposter syndrome, it thrives in isolation when we feel like we are on our own. So regular support and feedback from mentors and encouraging mentoring relationships. Now those can provide perspective, but also just reassurance. Okay, Okay, so the term the mental load. Now this concept really does apply to the workplace, and there are lots of things that leaders can do to prevent burnout in their employees. So the mental load at work, it's not just about tasks, it's not just about the tangible, it's about the invisible responsibility of remembering, it might be anticipating, it might be just that weight of worrying about everything that needs to be done. And leaders can help in a few ways. Firstly, clarifying the roles and expectations, because unclear responsibilities lead to employees kind of carrying those heavy burdens, those hidden burdens of kind of trying to anticipate and worrying if they're getting it right. So clarifying those roles is really important. Secondly, reducing that always on culture, because if employees feel like they must be constantly available, or at least being seen to be constantly available, they're never truly resting. And we know that rest is the true antidote to burnout. So if you're seeing people burn out, reducing and tackling this always on culture. And the third thing is encouraging task delegation. So many employees actually hesitate to ask for help because they worry that perhaps it might make them look incapable. So leaders that actively promote sharing responsibilities, this is about kind of fostering confidence. And when we are able to delegate and we're able to do jobs that are within the realms of the resources that we have, again, we see a reduction in burnout.